There are so many reasons to buy your next new car from A.J. Doman Chevrolet, but don't take our word on it. Hear what our customers have to say.
A.J. Doman has been taking care of the veterans with the vehicles for over 20 years. Very helpful, very polite to all the military guys.
My family and I have been shopping here for over 20 years. The sales team is great, and the service department is unmatched.
A.J. Doman Chevrolet, serving the area for over 38 years, at the foot of the Morgan City Bridge in Berwick.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Facebook YouTube coverage, and we look back at the year 2024. Let's take a look at July.
I would respectfully request that you appoint Angela Hidalgo as Executive Director. She was hired in 2002 by Z when he was the Executive Director back then, 22 years ago. She's been my administrative manager, then now the director for the last 15 years. So several months ago, I came to you and announced that I would be retiring, and then I requested y'all appointed her Deputy Executive Director. So she's not only been just an assistant, I've been showing her the method to the madness over the last, hopefully over the last few months. I think she's going to do a great job, and I would ask y'all to take this action effective immediately.
I'd like to move that.
All right, Mr. Moore, I have a motion. Do I have a unanimous?
Second.
Second? Any objection? All right, you are appointed. I'd just like to say a few words. Of course, you were here before I got here, and you've really done a great job. It's great to see how far that you've come, along with Reggie's coaching and Z and a bunch of people that were here before. And we're excited to work with you going forward. It's going to be a home run.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I have a lot of lessons I learned from Reggie. I know all of his secrets, or most of them anyway. Fortunately, he'll be here if we need to rely on his knowledge and expertise, so we're very fortunate for that. I'd like to thank Reggie for everything he's done for me personally and professionally, and each and every one of you. I've enjoyed my job very much working for the Levy District. I love what I do. I'm looking forward to the next phase. I have a great team of people that I've surrounded myself with, and I think that together we can make great things happen. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Just one thing for the record, Colonel Jones, from now on, cease and desist orders are going to be sent to India.
Hopefully none, right?
Okay, I'm going to read a commendation resolution into the record and be in the minutes of Terrebonne Levy District's meeting. Commendation resolution states, whereas Reggie Dupre Jr. has served as the Executive Director of the Terrebonne Levy and Conservation District since July 1st, 2009, and whereas prior to this position, he served in the Louisiana State Senate for District 20 from 2001 to 2009, where he resigned his post to serve the district and residents of Terrebonne. And while in the Senate, he chaired the National Resources Committee and was instrumental in assisting the state of Louisiana's response to the devastation of Hurricane Katrina by delivering legislation to reduce the bureaucracy of implementing coastal restoration and protection projects, including establishment of the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, constitutional dedication of oil and gas revenues to coastal protection, establishing and creating of the first coastal master plan, and empowering levy districts with land rights and contracting authorities. And whereas his past service also includes representing District 53 in Louisiana House of Representatives from 1996 to 2001, and councilman for the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government from 1988 to 1996, including serving as chairman on multiple occasions, and Recreation District Commissioner from 1986 to 1988, and lastly, Deputy Sheriff, Patrolman, and Shift Supervisor from 1979 to 1985. And whereas his public service and vast experience led 3 different governors to entrust leadership of coastal protection and restoration legislation to this very capable and passionate man. And whereas In this service, he has been recognized on numerous occasions, including such honors as the Lifetime Achievement Award from America's Wetlands, SCIA President's Award, and too many more to list, including most recently the CPRA's R. King Milling Distinguished Coastal Service Award. And whereas his service also included operation of community grocery stores in his native Onishan and Verb and essential fabrics that keep Bayou communities alive. And whereas Mr. Dubray has decided to retire after 15 years with the TLCD, where he oversaw the implementation of nearly $1 billion of construction projects, including 8 floodgates and 80 miles of levees, advancing the Morganza to the Gulf project. Whereas Mr. Dupray's creative nature and skilled knowledge has led to unprecedented progress for the Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District's plight to protect the people of Terrebonne Parish. And whereas Mr. Dupray's leadership and friendship will be missed but not forgotten by the community of Terrebonne and Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District. Now therefore be resolved by the Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District Board of Commissioners that Reggie P. Dupray Jr. be commended for his many years of public service and coastal advocacy, stewardship, and leadership, and for the implementation of coastal protection and restoration projects, and that it be further noted as such in the records of the Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District this first day of July 2024.
That's a lot of words.
Hold it to the camera.
Get used to it, Angel. Yeah.
Hold it to the camera.
I guess with the internet, we used to seeing these videos. I'm not used to seeing a video like this in Houma, Louisiana.
No. It's very disturbing. It is something that we want to get a handle on, because like we had previously reported, you have somebody that was staying at the Marriott who's a guest in our town, and the memory they have is they come to Houma and they got shot.
Right.
They were injured and they were minding their own business, and that's not what we want to represent.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible video to watch, and you're actually looking for some of these guys, right?
So, and like we previously reported, as it was a new investigation when I first came on the air, and we said that we were going to provide information as it comes available, and we're going to stay true to that. And right now, as a result of the work done by our investigators, and look, they've done a tremendous job on this whole thing. And we're looking for Akeem Ross, 32 years old, wanted for 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder, 1 felony count illegal use of a weapon. Sebastian Beck, 24 years old, wanted for 3 counts of attempt second-degree murder, 1 count felony illegal use of a weapon. Adrian Williams, 32 years old, wanted for 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder, 1 count of felony illegal use of a weapon. Devon Randall, 34 years old, wanted for 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder and 1 count felony illegal use of a weapon. And as the investigation continued, also incarcerated is Dontrell Robertson. We did do a correction to the name. I previously had misquoted his last name. And he's 27 years old, and we charged him with an additional count of attempted second-degree murder. And he is still incarcerated in the Terrebonne Parish Criminal Justice Complex.
So of the 5, he's the only one that's incarcerated right now.
That's correct. The other
so you're
4
looking for the other one.
Yes.
So as we take a look at the video, and if you hadn't seen this, there's a truck that'll pull up on the right there, and this again is Barrett area, right by that Chauvin Funeral Home in the back. And then Thrifty's, I guess they had a little altercation in the bar, and that truck all the way to the right is going to pull up, and that's where the action goes. All of these men are from Houma?
It's from the Terrebonne-Lafourche Parish area.
All right. And man, maybe you as a police officer, this happens more. Maybe you know more, but to me, watching this is incredible.
No, we watched it. This is not something normal, and we don't ever want it to be the norm in our town. But and as you watch it, this isn't the first of this type of event to take place at this location.
So that's a truck, and they pull out, and then it breaks out, and there's gunfire going back and forth.
That's correct. It's a shootout, and we're just thankful nobody died.
That is just terrifying.
It is, absolutely.
So, as you following up on the investigation now, so only one guy was treated at the hospital from this incident, but another person was hit at the hotel.
So the same time this happened, there was a call that came into the Marriott with a subject with a gunshot wound, and it was found that almost probably a quarter of a mile or more away, he was struck by a round from one of those gunshots that were fired. There was a second person that had gone to an area hospital, also found to sustain gunshot injuries from here. And then later on in the afternoon, still on June 30th, a third person showed up at a local hospital with a gunshot wound as well. Everyone, to our knowledge, is recovering from their injuries. And like I previously said, this is not the first shooting that we've had at this location. We've previously reported homicides that have occurred here. We've previously reported shootings that have occurred here. We've had numerous fights and disturbances, numerous calls for service at this location. And as a result, we are going to hold the owner of the property and the bar manager responsible, and they have been charged with letting a disorderly place as a result of what occurred.
Yeah. So like I say, you can see that's probably the parking lot. That's on the side of Chauvin Funeral Home. Probably just people just parking on the street.
That's right.
Is it like a spring break place, or is it just a bar that's kind of become popular and gets out of control?
It's a very small bar, and it's become popular, and it's pretty much now become known for trouble. It's a trouble spot. We have the business owners in the area. They're not happy about it. This thing's going on. And we have people that live behind it in their homes. They're not happy about what's going on. Everyone in this town has the right to feel safe, and as a result of what's occurring at this location, people don't feel safe in town, and we need for our town to be safe.
I'm State Fire Marshal Brian Adams. We're here today on a very tragic situation in this community that we'd like to send out our thoughts and prayers to not only this local neighborhood here, but this community who will suffer for a very long time from this very tragic incident. The fire department arrived this morning on this fire around 3:45. The first units saw this building or this house behind us fully engulfed in flames, and they extinguished the fire and did their best to get the fire under control. Unfortunately, the fire consumed five victims that we removed from the scene, and the fire is still very much under investigation, and we're trying to figure out the cause of the fire. I'll go ahead and let the sheriff speak for a minute.
Good morning. I'm Sheriff Craig Weber, Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. Of course, I'm joined with the State Fire Marshal and our local fire chief, Harvey Parks. I want to echo the comments of the Fire Marshal and tell the community how sorry we are to lose 5 members of this beautiful community of Lafourche Parish. We are working in conjunction with and supporting the State Fire Marshal's Office. This is a scene where they have primary jurisdiction, and not only do they have jurisdiction, they have the expertise in the area of searching through a burned out structure and trying to determine location, causes, and any sort of potential foul play or not. So we're here to support them all the way through their investigation, which will probably take several days, if not longer, to go through all the evidence and to come to some conclusions. But we want to offer our condolences and our heartfelt sorrow to the families and friends and to the community. This is a very heart-wrenching tragedy, a terrible way to start a Saturday morning. We appreciate all of you being here and the many volunteers from the fire service who have been in the heat since the early wee morning hours, desperately fighting to get the fire out, as well as people in the community as well, the Acadian Ambulance, State Fire Marshal, Sheriff's Office, State Police, everybody working together as a team.
Chief, can you describe the scene? What was it like whenever y'all rolled out this morning to the scene?
First shooter on scene, it was a fully involved fire. The roof was already collapsing when we got up on the scene, and it was fully involved.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights. Welcome to a very special edition of Bayou Time. I'm Martin Faust. Two of our area pilots, aviators, were honored in the Hall of Fame. Of course, this was held earlier in North Louisiana, but our local Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission decided to give them some accolades themselves. So one of them showed up in person. Mr. Charlie Hammonds was there in person, and he got to receive his award and give his presentation in person. Mr. John Corky Fornoff, well, he was there via Zoom, and he got to tell a few stories also. So this was very nice for the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission to make this happen. Two world-class pilots who've flown just about everything. And they had fun that night telling stories and sharing their memories. Let's listen in on a very important night.
To start old business, I don't want to use that word preferably, but we have a presentation of the resolution acknowledging the retirement and induction into the Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame of a Louisiana aviation icon, Charles Lindy Charlie Hammonds. Mr. Charlie, if you would come forward, we're going to give you the presentation up here, if that's okay.
Okay, you want to come down?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. I don't walk too good right now, but I got a back on my operation on my back, so I'm walking a little funny. But anyway, I'm coming to you. I might be a little slow here. I might miss it.
Yeah, y'all can fill in on either side. That's great. Come in here. All right, Mert, you will read the resolution.
Okay, at a regular meeting of the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission, the following resolution was unanimously adopted. Upon the retirement and induction into the Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame of a Louisiana aviation icon, Charles Lindy Charlie Hammonds. Whereas one of the first and foremost aviation operators in the parish of Terrebonne, the state of Louisiana, and the United States, Charles Lindy Charlie Hammonds, has announced his retirement from active service on the Houma Terrebonne Airport. Whereas Mr. Hammonds began his career washing airplanes when he was 12 years old, earned his private pilot certificate and seaplane rating when he was 17, and started his venerable Hammonds Air Service in 1960 when he was 21. And whereas Hammonds Air Service has been a constant presence at Houma since inception as a fixed base operator, offering a seaplane base, charter service, flight school, hangar rentals, aircraft maintenance, and fuel sales. And whereas Mr. Hammonds has influenced and touched the lives of countless flight students and organizations in the aviation and oil field industries, with some notables including his Hammonds Commuter Airlines in the 1970s, flying the Brazilian Embraer Bandeirante, the de Havilland Twin Otter, Piper Navajo Chieftains, and his star pupil, J.W. Corky Fornoff, a skilled pilot renowned for his airshow talent and movie flight skills, with whom Charlie was inducted into the prestigious Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame. And whereas Mr. Hammond's proudest moments have included his flying an F-15 fighter jet through to the speed of sound, completing his bachelor's degree from Embry-Riddle in aviation, establishing his well-renowned aviation museum in a company hangar, and fathering two sons who followed him into aviation. Ricky, an accomplished military and commercial pilot and instructor, and Lindy, who has run the company maintenance facility. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission of the Parish of Terrebonne, State of Louisiana, hereby gives its highest and most heartfelt congratulations and accolades to Charles Lindy Charlie Hammonds for not only his years of service to the aviation industry, but also for his frequent presence at the Houma Airport, as well as airport safety meetings where he championed the interests of all who worked at and used the Houma Terrebonne Airport. And the resolution was unanimously adopted. Charlie, we'd like to present this memento to you.
I truly enjoyed my years on this airport. The old Houma Airport. I walked up here when in the early 50s, and I enjoyed every day here, and hopefully I'll have a few more to add to the thing. But aviation is my life. It's always been that way, and I've taught over the years, like Mert said, several hundred people to fly. And I've enjoyed every minute being with all of my students and the people that I've dealt with. You know, I always, like my friend Mert here, I wanted to be a Navy pilot when I was young, and that's what my ambitions were. And but it didn't work out that way. I had some family issues that I had to take care of a bunch of kids, and so I missed that part of it. I always, but I got to spend a little time on the aircraft carrier with my son Ricky. He flew F-14s like Mert off the aircraft carrier, and the Navy let me ride on one from San Diego, from the Hawaiian Islands to San Diego, California. Fantastic trip. I enjoyed it so much, and I know why Mert enjoyed his time on the aircraft carrier. But again, I got to do a lot of wonderful things. But I said to myself, you know, I flew the P-51. Matter of fact, that Bearcat up there, Corky standing by the Bearcat, I flew that airplane a lot. There's my seaplane, one right up here. And got to fly the P-51 a lot. But I said to myself, I'll never get to fly a military jet because I just wasn't in the military. So I accepted that. So anyway, one day a General DeGeneres came up to me and he said, Charlie, I'd like for you to teach my son to fly. I said, I'd love to. So the young man, he did real well. He went to become an Air Force pilot. And so one day, General Landino was here on the east ramp of the airport, and Sam told him, he said, why don't we let Charlie fly one of the F-15s? And he said, General Landino said, heck, let him do it. So Clarky's brother Terry, the general had him fly down from California to take me up in this F-15. But Sam told him, he said, let him do anything he wants to do with the plane. So Terry tells me, he said, the general said that you could take it off and land it And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about this airplane. I don't know anything about it. And so I said, I'd rather not do that. But I said, what I'd like to do is go through the speed of sound. And I'd like to feel the power of a modern day fighter, just like this guy here has felt many, many times. And so anyway, he said, we got it fixed up for you. So I didn't take it off or landed, but he took this going F-15 out of there, and he went into the vertical with it, and just shot up to 15,000 feet. And I watched the Superdome. It was kind of like flushing a toilet. It just went right down. And I watched it go out of sight pretty quick and upside down. And then he righted it, and he said, it's your airplane. So I took it out over the Gulf. And again, I didn't know anything about the power settings and everything, but boy, I was a happy coon ass to be able to sit in an F-15 and flying it myself. And so anyway, he set the power settings up, and he told me, he said, we're going through the speed of sound now, and then 1.1 Mach, 1.2 Mach, and I was burning gas, I was going out of style, and so he said, now just take the throttles and pull them back real easy, which I did, to go subsonic. And we came over Houma here, and we had a wonderful time flying over. But I did get to fly a military jet, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I got to fly it for an hour. Nobody on this earth had more time. I'm talking about time to enjoy aviation. I built a lot of these hangars you see on the airport here. I just got Fletcher College just bought us out. We're going to that whole thing's going to take place in probably October, right in that range. And so we're happy about that. They're going to put in an A&P school here. They're going to put in a flight school. They're going to have classrooms, and they're going to use a shop that we have now for teaching aviation mechanics. And so I'm very happy about that. It's going to be good for our parish, for our city, for the state of Louisiana to get a school down here of that character. And so I'm very happy about it. And I'm looking forward to have these Hammond signs taken off of my hangar, and putting Fletcher up there and getting started on this project.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Again, everyone, as we continue to honor two aviators from right here in our Houma area who were inducted statewide into a Hall of Fame for aviators, but then they brought it home, the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission honoring them at a recent meeting. And of course, I'm talking about Mr. Charles Hammonds and also Mr. John Corky Fornoff, both with great stories and both with the accolades to go with them from many people. Well, we heard from Mr. Hammonds on a previous show. Let's now listen in as Corky Fornoff talks about his recognition that he so well deserved to be nominated and then inducted into a statewide Hall of Fame.
We have a presentation of a resolution acknowledging the induction into the Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame of a Louisiana aviation icon, John W. Corky Fornoff. And we're going to make the same presentation. Art?
Okay, at the regular meeting of the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission, the following resolution was unanimously adopted. On the induction into the Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame of a Louisiana aviation celebrity, John W. Corky Fornoff. Whereas, on May 4th, 2024, at the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum in Monroe, Louisiana, one of the most celebrated aviation operators of the Houma Terrebonne Airport in the parish of Terrebonne, state of Louisiana, and the United States, John W. Corky Fornoff has been inducted into the Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame. And whereas Corky began his aviation career by assisting his father, J.W. Bill Fornoff, flight demonstration team, by leading flight line ground crew support at air shows, himself learning to fly in a Navy SNJ Texan while still in high school, and progressed to flying dual formation air shows with his father as a P-51 Mustang / F-8F Bearcat team, later advancing to dual F-8F Bearcats. Whereas Corky also progressed further into the dual aircraft team, this time utilizing dual BD-5J microjets. While performing in the microjet at air shows, Corky's talent and expertise was spotted by the movie industry, and he was selected to fly in countless films, including James Bond, Jurassic Park, and Mission Impossible series. And whereas Corky's performances have inspired and positively influenced countless aviation aspirants throughout the world, he has demonstrated extensively that the airshow movie business is a never-ending journey in safety management, requiring close adherence to training from experts such as his father, Bill, respected military flight demonstration teams such as the Blue Angels, Thunderbirds, R.A. Bob Hoover, and whereas Corky's proudest moments have included his flying numerous military fighter aircraft individually, as well as receiving coveted invitations to contribute legacy aircraft flyby demonstrations in teamwork with the major military aerobatic demonstration groups. Now therefore be it resolved that the Houma Terrebonne Airport Commission of the Parish of Terrebonne, State of Louisiana, hereby gives its highest and most heartfelt congratulations and accolades to John W. Corky Fornoff for his years of providing aerial demonstration and movie entertainment to aviation enthusiasts throughout the world, and also for the positive recognition his professional activities has given to the Houma Terrebonne Airport. And that resolution was unanimously adopted. So, Corky, I hope you've been able to hear me. Well, there we go. Now I can look up and see. Corky, we have this presentation for you, and we will coordinate with you to get it to you as soon as we can. And we look forward to seeing you whenever you get down to Houma again, and coming by and visiting and continuing to spread your friendship and the respect that everyone has for you down here.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's quite an introduction. Such a tremendous introduction. I can hardly wait to hear what I'm going to say. You know? Can you hear me there, Mert?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, I'll tell you what, folks, I greatly appreciate it. This is quite an honor, and of course I've got a lot of fond memories in Houma. It's you know, it's Merton and I grew up together, and in fact, Merton helped us build that hangar. Really honored, and you know, I got my start right there in Houma. I had four great people to help me. Of course, Charlie Hammonds was my instructor. And then I had my dad, a gentleman named Bob Hoover, and a gentleman named Clay Lacey. And they were all mentors of mine and took a great interest in my career and helped me along the way. You know, it's like any other business, particularly in the film business, it takes those kind of contacts to get you in the door. But like any other business, if you don't have the talent and can perform, you're out that door just as quick. I was very fortunate with the mentors I had and people that were a great inspiration to me. And the gentleman that just introduced me, Merton Pellegrin's been one of the biggest inspirations. Like I said, we've been together since we were kids. I've got great admiration for him. If you ever see some of the test pilot work Merton did, he's got some great films. You won't believe it. And he did things, even though all the crazy stuff I've done, you wouldn't believe. It has been a great career. I never planned it. It just kind of flowed. I kind of went with the flow and took advantage of the opportunities that were presented. It's allowed me to fly over 311 different types of airplanes, and I've been able to fly on every continent of the world except Antarctica, and the penguins haven't called, so I don't think I'll be going there. And I don't like cold weather, so I'm kind of out there. But it's given me, I mean, you know, flying the film work around the world in air shows, I've been in the most beautiful garden spots of the world and been allowed to fly down into canyons and do things that, unless you had a film permit behind you, they'd put you in jail. Charlie was a big help to me. I have to tell you something about Mr. Hammonds was he soloed me in less than 6 hours, and I'll never forget it. One day we were shooting touch and goes at the airport there, and Charlie told me to taxi back to the hangar and keep it running, and I taxied it back in front of the hangar and sat there with that Pratt & Whitney engine going cha-chunk, cha-chunk, cha-chunk. And Charlie said, don't shut it off. And he got out and came around in the front of me. And of course, he's tall and lanky like Bob Hoover. And he stuck his bony finger in my face. And he said, now, Fornoff, there's no sense in you killing both of us. You go do it by yourself. And that's how he set me off for my solo flight. You know, he's been a great friend and has been there whenever I've needed him. You know, I don't know what to say. This is quite an honor. I've enjoyed flying the air shows. I've flown every major air show in the United States and Canada and Mexico and the Bahama Islands and even flew a couple when I was filming around the world. Of course, on the film, you work 6 days a week. In the 7th day, I still went out and flew. That hangar right there that we were talking about, you know, we built that hangar and my dad had such a reputation. He flew all those major air shows around the country. And I have never seen a promoter that promoted Houma, Louisiana more than my father. Every opportunity he had, he promoted the city and the airport. It was his love. The people that visited that hangar, I'll give you an example. You know, several astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Pete Conrad, you know, 2 moonwalkers, Joe Engle, who just died. You know, of course, Clay Lacey. Bob Hoover used to keep his airplane there. He probably kept it there 7 or 8 times over the course that I was in Houma. And you had other famous aerobatic teams, the Red Devils and the Christian Eagles. And then, of course, during the off-season for the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds, we would have a number of Blue Angels or Thunderbirds come down and fly the airplanes and play. And Charlie would take them out to fly a seaplane, and I know he has some stories about them flying seaplanes. You know, but the greatest one that visited that hangar and used it was President Nixon. That hangar is, if nothing else, you guys should consider putting a brass plaque on one of the posts, just saying, you know, that President Nixon and moonwalking astronauts visited that hangar. But once again, guys, I'm really thankful. I love Houma. I like to get back to Houma, go to see Charlie and Merton. And I tell you what, one of your meetings, you ought to talk to Merton, see if you can get him to show you those films, because you would be astounded at the test pilot work he did. He's one of the finest pilots I've ever known. you know, but I appreciate it, gentlemen. I greatly appreciate it.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. All right, we're back, and we got some great news here, because how many people get to speak at the RNC convention, the Republican National Convention? And how many people get to lead them in prayer? Well, we have one of our own that led that whole big rowdy bunch. It was definitely an aura in that convention center. Joining us now, let's introduce him and get him on camera. Pastor Patrick Packy Thompson, and he's with the Bayou Blue First Assembly. And we'll go into some of your, before we roll in the film, you've been around for a while. You told me you were from home, and I caught that accent, but you come by, you got some Gina in there.
Yes, sir. I was born here. My dad moved me away when I was a year and a half old to Gina, which is up in the Pine Woods, Northeast Louisiana. And the accent stayed with me. I've been back here over 31 years pastoring Bayou Blue. And so I still have the accent. I don't know what to say.
Oh, that's okay. But I guess my obvious question would be, how do you get the call to do a prayer at the convention for the Republican Party? How did that come about?
One of the men in my church, he's been coming to our church probably 7, 8 years. He went on a missions trip with us. He lives in New Orleans. His daughter and granddaughter were coming with us, and he was worried about him because what if something happened in Africa? He wanted to be sure he was there, so he came. And while we were on the trip, he and I just really meshed together well. Just a great, great guy. Well, he works for Freeman Enterprises, which is they do venues where they build up stages, and they do all that work. That everything you saw at the RNC, all of they did. They built every stage, the balloons, everything. Yeah, and so his company's in charge of that. He's been doing it for over 40 years for the company, and they've done RNC for 25, 30 years. So he asked them if they had all of their speakers together, and they said yes. And what about all of your ministers? They said, no, we haven't gotten that done. He said, could I give you my pastor's name? And they said, sure. And they gave it to him. He said, he said, I don't know if they'll do anything with it or not. And a couple of weeks later, they called me and asked me, would I be interested? I said, of course, yeah, absolutely, you know. And so then they lined me up. I guess had to do all their background checks, and I passed. So they called me up, and I was able to go.
Did you meet former President Trump?
I was able to see him when I prayed for him. Yeah. Met his son, Don Jr. Eric. Was able to see a lot of the speakers. The night that they had me praying, I was in the very back. They wouldn't let me go outside because they said that when the Secret Service locks things down, the security was real
Once you're in, you're not getting out.
That's it. And so they told me. So I didn't get a chance to actually meet him and talk with him. I got a chance to pray with him, and when I was thanking him for all he did, he said thank you, and before I started praying.
We're going to run the prayer in the second segment because I want to lead up to it a little bit, but you preached in front of a lot of people before.
Yeah.
And you've had congregations before. And I'm sure every now and then you look up and you got a semi-well-known celebrity that you're preaching for. But how was it when you looked up and you saying your prayer, you're looking right at Donald Trump? What was going through your mind?
You know, I was thinking to myself, you know, only God could set that kind of thing up. For a boy from down the bayou, from a little town in Gina, I mean, you know, they were all scrambling to find Houma in Bayou Blue. And when I mentioned Gina, they just quit. They said, well, there's no finding this. But it was just surreal, you know, that I had a chance to pray for a man that sat in the Oval Office, and I believe will have another chance.
You said the atmosphere was rocking and rolling, but could you sense how electric it was?
Oh my goodness. It was just unbelievable. the night, the Thursday night that he accepted the nomination, I was able to be in the audience. That place was packed, and it went, I mean, just explosive. People were so excited. It was such a positive experience. I had my wife and my daughter were there with me, and my daughter told me, she said, I've never felt more American than I do right now.
I only have one complaint about watching it on. I'm going to watch the Democratic one. I love to see how they pull it all off. I have one complaint about the Republican convention. When Kid Rock got up there and started singing, some of the people they isolated on the camera could not dance to save their life.
No, I noticed that too, and I couldn't hear a word he said.
Yeah.
There was so much shouting going on in there.
Loud.
Yeah, you know, when they brought Hulk Hogan out, you know, and the Hulkster, you know,
He's a good speaker.
He really is. He knows how to work a crowd.
Yeah, they had a good group. All right. Without further ado, he had his moment. Before we roll it in, were you nervous at all?
Yes.
All right, so you're being honest with me. I like that from a preacher. Be honest. Let's roll it in.
Well, hello, Milwaukee. I bring you greetings from the great state of Louisiana, from my church, Bayou Blue Assembly of God in Houma, Louisiana, and from the small town I grew up in Gina, Louisiana. I am proud to be with all of you here tonight for this historic convention, and I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for his blessings. I would like to thank the RNC for allowing me to be here. And I would like to thank President Trump for all that he has done for our country. I want you to know, sir, that you are loved and respected in my state of Louisiana. Would y'all stand and pray with me, please? Heavenly Father, we are grateful for your mercy and your protection here tonight. Father, we give you glory and honor because you alone deserve to be honored. Father, I thank you for giving us a man to stand in the gap for us, a man who has made up the hedge for the American people, a man who has protected our nation from those who would harm us. Father, we thank you for raising up President Donald J. Trump to be the 47th President of the United States of America. And I also thank you for protecting him from the evil that was perpetrated last Saturday. Father, I ask that you would unite our country once again, a nation, Lord God, under your leadership. Father God, help us to elect leaders that will help us to become the lead country in the world, to hold the values that our forefathers intended for us when they drafted the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. Father, I ask that you would help us to elect men and women of God who will protect the rights that were promised to every American, protect us from tyranny, and restore truth back to the public square. Father, I pray for the Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance tonight, that you would give them grace, strength, and wisdom to guide our country once again. And Father God, help make America great. Once again, I ask it in Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. Yes.
You didn't look nervous. You delivered a great message.
As I walked onto the platform, I did feel a peace. I was nervous up to that moment.
You almost give it up to the Holy Spirit, they say, when you're nervous. Huh?
Yeah, that you have to, you know. I think, you know, before I get up and preach every Sunday, I'm nervous. I've been doing the same church here 31 years, and before I get up to preach every Sunday, I'm nervous.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Today marks a truly historical occasion for all of us gathered here. With tremendous pride and gratitude, I stand before you to announce that the United Houma Nation was awarded $56.5 million from NOAA. As President Biden and Vice President Harris, we took your challenge and we wrote a comprehensive plan, and we were awarded today $56.5 million. Over 900 ideas were submitted. 120 were asked to write the full proposals. And the United Houma Nation is one of 8 in the United States. For too long, our tribe has faced challenges that have hindered our progress and development. My people have experienced firsthand the hardship and struggles that come with inadequate resources and limited opportunities, denied basic education. But today, however, we stand on the brink of transformation changes. NOAA recognizes our needs and potentials and has extended a helping hand in the form of substantial financial support. This funding is testament to the strength of our community and the resilience of our people. It recognizes our rights, our culture, and our contribution to this nation. With this funding, we have the opportunity to address critical issues that have long plagued our tribe. This funding is to invest in infrastructure projects that will improve not only our tribal communities. This building that you have seen back here will be a state-of-the-art. It'll be self-sustainable with solar panels, a water catch basin, and energy-efficient material. Plants that are specifically picked not only to beautify our property, but also for our environment. We will be a model, not only for our community, but we're looking to be a model for the state.
Thank you all for being here. I'm honored to stand with you today to share this groundbreaking news that will profoundly impact our state's resilience against the growing climate crisis. And I'd like to start by thanking our chief, Laura-Ann Chasson. For her friendship, partnership, and commitment to making this historic announcement a reality. Thanks to the Climate Resilience Regional Challenge, Louisiana will receive $59.8 million in funding from the Department of Commerce and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Heidi, thank you very much. This funding is a result of the historic Inflation Reduction Act that I'm very proud to have helped craft and vote for as a member of Congress. This will empower our communities to tackle increasing threats of extreme weather, sea level rise, and stronger tropical storms. One of the most significant recipients of the funding is United Houma Nation, which will receive over $56.5 million. Yes, $56.5 million to enhance coastal resilience. The United Houma Nation's comprehensive approach to resilience is a model for community-focused climate adaptation. This project will not only address the immediate impacts of increased storm activity and sea level rise, but will also integrate cultural, environmental, economic, and emergency response strategies to ensure sustainable futures for the Houma people. You live on the front lines of the climate crisis. For generations, the Houma Nation has called the bayous of southern Louisiana home, and perhaps no other group of people in the state have witnessed and borne the brunt of the devastating impacts of the land loss crises, worsening tropical storms, and rising sea levels more than you. This is an existential crisis for Louisiana and the unique people and culture that can only be found here.
Here in our area, everyone that works on vessels for our nation, and there's plenty of them, do a great job. Louisiana really has become known as one of the top places to get a vessel built anywhere, in any business. Well, Dwayne Dupree and I decided to take a trip to Morgan City. Conrad Shipyard had a great ceremony on Friday of last week, and it is worth quite a few minutes here on Bayou Time, so we'll dedicate the next 3 segments to that ceremony, and also you can see the entire program on Facebook and YouTube. Without further ado, let's join Conrad Shipyards in their ceremony on Friday in Amelia.
So this is a historic event in the story of Conrad Shipyard. Now in our 76th year of delivering almost 1,300 rugged and reliable vessels to government and commercial markets, YRBM 57 is our first Navy new build. When Conrad was awarded this contract in 2022, my father, Johnny Conrad, told our management team that this was our opportunity to give back to the American sailors who sail into harm's way. He framed it as a thank you for the service and sacrifice. We have several armed service veterans on our shipbuilding team that we're very proud of. And Johnny's remark caught fire among our workforce, and there was 100% buy-in. The results is what you see here today, a YRBM built to a level of quality and attention to detail unrivaled in shipbuilding. We are proud to build first-class accommodations where sailors can comfortably work, relax, sleep, eat, and exercise while their ships are under repair and before they return to the rigors of sea life. And so, bravo Zulu. That's Navy speak for well done to our entire shipbuilding team. We commend the extraordinary men and women of Conrad for your dedication and tireless work on YRBM 57. You are a great example of when talent and purpose come together. And we've got our yard guys here on the at the ceremony today. We felt like they need to be a part of this ceremony, so thank you guys.
The first time that the Conrads came to DC to talk to us about this, and that they had bid on this, they had a vision, and there was a couple of hiccups, and we took it from there. And it's how Washington should work. The Navy picks a quality shipyard with quality workforce to fulfill a need. There's communication between that shipyard and, in this case, my Senate office. I have a staffer who's not here, but Ron Anderson, and there's nobody better than kind of finding some place for a little bit of money in the federal budget than Ron Anderson, and bringing that concern, allowing us to help meet it, end up with this ship, employing all the people that are employed, and making Morgan City part of how we defend our country.
And one of the biggest challenges we have right now is ensuring that we can project the United States strength all over the world. And one of the best ways for us to do that is through the United States Navy. And the only way that we can build the ships that we need, the only way that we can build the capacity that we need, the only way that we can upgrade, repair the ships that we have is by this. It's all part of the system. It's all part of the system. Now look, the captain can't say this because he has to take orders from above and shake his head and say yes and everything, but as a delegation, bipartisan, bicameral, we came together, we added, I think it was $25 million to the budget last year, added an additional $30 million to the appropriations bill this year, to where we can keep doing this, to where our United States Navy can have the vessels that they need, the capabilities that they need to truly project peace through strength.
Today we stand at a significant milestone in the proud history of Conrad Shipyard. It is with immense pride and honor that we celebrate and launch and deliver the first YRBM vessel to the United States Navy. This achievement is a testament to your commitment to excellence, innovation, and unwavering dedication to supporting our nation's defense. In August 2023, Conrad Shipyards embarked on a journey to create vessels that serve as temporary homes away from home and workplace for the brave men and women of the United States Navy. These barges provide essential facilities and comfort for our service members whose vessels are in port for repairs and maintenance.
Even though YRVM is not considered a naval vessel, I think it's absolutely 100% worthy that we recognize the hard work and dedication that went into getting this vessel here. This last week we finished up something called Builders Trials. This is a preparation for acceptance trials. And since this is Conrad's first time doing a contract for the Navy, it can be a real wide rude awakening in how a customer may look at taking delivery to something. And I want you to know that Conrad, I think you guys produced one of the best builders trials for a shipyard that's the first time. Across the board, the entire soup ship team was absolutely, I don't know how else to explain it. Like our expectations were far exceeded. We knew it was going to be hard. We knew there was going to be a lot of learning. But every step of the way, you guys took on board what we were trying to help you with, and you made it better.
What a day in Morgan City, and to have the kind of dignitaries that you had on stage, and to see this, and to get that, just that accommodation from the captain on how y'all passed with flying colors. What a proud day.
It's certainly a proud day for the men and women of Conrad Shipyard and the men and women of the Navy. They're going to be the end user and hopefully have some really good creature comforts when they get off the ship and hopefully a home away from home. But this is a big deal for us, our first full Navy contract, and it's taken a lot of people behind the scene to get to the finished product, and our workforce has done a tremendous job. So it hats off to those guys. I mean, they the workers. They get it done, and we're very proud of them and appreciate what they do, working out in the elements, the heat, the rain, the cold, whatever's being thrown out at them, and they don't slow down, and they come back to work and do it safely.
So this one behind you is going to Japan.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. So this will be brought over to San Diego, and then from San Diego it will go off to Japan and service the men and women in Japan.
Congratulations. I know you have some dignitaries to catch up to, but great job, and thank you all for inviting us. We appreciate being here.
Thank you. When we first started meeting with them, especially Congressman Carter, he said, even though I'm not in your district, this is for Louisiana, and I'm going to do whatever I can. And I remember that. He has been a big help as well as everybody else. So it's been really good.
How proud are you today? I know it's got to be a proud moment.
It is. I'm having a hard time responding to that. It's a beautiful moment. I'm so happy and grateful that the Navy saw fit to put their trust in us to do the job that they needed to have done. And boy, did we respond. Our guys and gals did a magnificent job. I'm so proud of them. We have quite a good workforce, been with us for a number of years, and they don't know anything but hard work.
I was really impressed when the captain got up and he talked about that these kind of inspections don't normally go real smooth, but he said for the first time for a newcomer that y'all passed with flying color. I know that's probably what made you most proud.
Oh, no doubt, yes. I don't think they give that out to too many people, and we're very fortunate to have accomplished that milestone, if you want to call it, for them, and I hope they remember that in the future for any more projects you might be thinking of. Bring it on. We can handle it.
Well, they were talking nothing but good over here for sure, but let me ask you this for Louisiana boat builders, and just in general, they said it several times, if you're going to build a ship, Louisiana's the place to build it, but I know what you're thinking, if they want to build anything, Morgan City might be the place.
Well, both. We vary. Louisiana is very fortunate to have quality shipbuilders at all the shipyards that exist here. Everybody does a really good job, and we're proud to be part of that too. And we're going to keep our eyes open for more stuff, and our all our representatives in Washington, D.C. has definitely helped us with this project. Couldn't have done it without them either. So I'm grateful for them and their part that they played.
Cecil, what a day. I mean, we thank y'all for letting us come in because it's nice and air conditioned.
It is.
And I can imagine this is what a sailor deserves when they come in here and their ship is either being repaired or docked, and they can come in here and have all the luxuries just walking in the kitchen or the galley. It's unbelievable. Just the pride in this vessel is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And, you know, before we got into this program, we didn't realize the condition of the existing vessels that are 40, 50, 60 years old that the servicemen and women have to live in when and it's been a big issue for those men and women. And so all of a sudden these projects, although you know they're not combatants or submarines or anything like that, they're very critical for the servicemen and women of our country. And as they're doing their duties, as you heard, this one's actually going to Japan. So that's pretty impressive, and these accommodations are first class, really.
Yeah, I was looking in the galley, and it's better than a lot of restaurants have, that's for sure. But you know, just looking at and I know we can't zoom in on the regulation book because probably a lot of top secret stuff in it, but it's pretty thick.
Yeah, it is, and there's more than just one. So there's a lot of test procedures. We have to go through about 3 rounds of different test procedures that involves our people in the Navy. And then the last hurdle, I guess the last procedure is it's an outside party that the Navy contracts with, which I understand, you know, again, we should be ready because we've, you know, probably for the last month we've been going through a lot of testing. Doing work for the Navy requires a lot of attention to detail about everything. And you know, they take a lot of pictures. You know, you have to change a lot of things. But this is our first one. We've learned a lot. And I think, you know, the next ones should go smoother. Not that this one didn't. This one actually went, based on what the Navy's saying, smoother than in a lot of other cases that they have, you know, their experience.
They tell me you're a pretty meticulous guy, so this was probably right up your alley.
Well, yeah, I'm more of a business financial side, right? So we have a lot of meticulous engineers. We designed this vessel from, that was part of the contract, this is our Conrad design, and we have an excellent team of engineers, of course, to do something like this.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
As you guys will remember, about 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, we were made aware of an oil spill that made its way into Bayou Lafourche from the Crescent Midstream facility located here in Racine, Louisiana. Upon arrival, our emergency operations, along with Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, noticed some oil floating in the bayou. From then, we were made aware that Crescent Midstream was the source point of the leak, and began to work with them on the cleanup operations. We're joined also today by EPA out of Region 6 in Dallas, who's the federal on-scene coordinator, as well as the Louisiana Oil Spill Coordinator's Office, who's the state responsible on-scene coordinator. Made up of those two entities, Crescent Midstream is the responsible party and Lafourche Parish is the local on-scene coordinator. We've been a part of the unified command structure over the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of days. Very, very great group to work with. I can't say enough about EPA and LOSCO and what a great group they have been to work with, and all the ideas that have been coming across the table. And also the responsible party in Crescent Midstream has been a great group to work with, along with their contractors, ES&H and Forefront. No matter what we've asked for, they've been on the ground with us, whether it was protecting our drinking water source, or Bayou Lafourche is kind of the cultural hub for us here in Lafourche Parish. All been a great response overall. So now I'd like to turn over to Mr. Mike Smith to give you guys an update on the cleanup efforts, as well as some of the volumes of oil that's been recovered from the bayou.
Thank you, Mr. Parish President. We appreciate very much the level of cooperation, not only from the parish, but also from the unified command structure that, as Archie said, was stood up very promptly on Saturday morning. On behalf of Crescent Midstream and the Unified Command, my name is Mike Smith. I've been serving as the Public Information Officer. It was my first opportunity to be out on the water of Bayou Lafourche since Saturday. I'll give you my impression about what I saw, and I can say that Bayou Lafourche is in a much better place today, 1 week after the incident, than it was back on Saturday. The amount of progress that the workers have made is outstanding. Having said that, there is much left to do. And I want you to take away from today's press conference one thing in particular, and that is we are not finished. There remains a significant amount of work to do along the shorelines. There remains a significant amount of work to do to continue to protect the water source, which, as we saw today, is very protected. And I think that you will see over the next few days a transition of sorts as we right-size the number of workers and the number of vessels to suit the amount of remaining oil. And if you just permit me, I'm going to go through a few key details along that line. Starting, of course, with our workers. As you know, we've been under heat advisories here. The working conditions out on the water are incredibly difficult. We have thankfully only suffered 3 minor first aid incidents since the start of this incident back on Saturday. Each of the workers were treated by medical professionals and released and returned to work immediately after that treatment. We continue to stress heat safety, and those of you that were out on the water with me this morning can attest. Even though we were there in morning hours and technically not when the heat advisory started, it certainly can get to you and get to you very fast. I wanted to also stress to you today that with the onset of school and the return of teachers to school in Lafourche Parish, particularly to Central Lafourche High School, that we are providing proactive, ongoing air monitoring between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. In the proximity of the high school. We have no reason to believe that there are elevated levels, and indeed data show that those levels are normal, but out of an abundance of caution, to reassure the teachers and students who will be returning shortly, and their parents, of course, we took that proactive measure. The total volume of liquids recovered as of yesterday afternoon in Bayou Lafourche is approximately 1,300 barrels. Now, you might ask yourself, why is that number larger than 820 barrels that were previously reported as spilled in this incident? Quite simply, that 1,300 barrel figure is a mixture of both the crude oil and water from the bayou that are collected at the same time. That volume is then taken away, measured, and separated, and accounted for very, very carefully. We believe it to be operator error as something that was a participant and at a participating cause of that release. But the final ruling will come out by PHMSA in the next few weeks.
Is there a valve left open?
Our preliminary findings are that there was a valve left open inside of the facility, and that the crude oil was allowed to escape in that way. That was one of the key findings of that preliminary, again, investigation.
So this year, President Basco gave us an opportunity to host it again here. We've been wanting to do it for quite some time now, so we're just happy to be here and give a little Southern hospitality to all these guys.
So we've been around in Louisiana since 1954, and we've got a long history of lodges in major cities. Thibodaux, by our outlook from 54, is one of our newer lodges. And, you know, we know that Thibodaux's lodge does a lot of things community-based. They have the boil off, they help CASA, you know, they support tons of community engagements here. So we wanted to give them an opportunity to do it. Like President Dempster said, we've been working with it over hurricanes and COVID, and, you know, we've seen a lot of great hospitality for the day and a half we've been here. We're looking forward to being here the next 2 days and ending it up. And between the previous mayor's administration and current Mayor Clement, he's really rolled out the carpet for us, and between him and Chief Zerang, we couldn't ask for a better event or a hospitality location in Thibodaux.
I was glad that we were able to host it. As Lieutenant Dempster said, we tried to hold it in the past, but due to the fact of COVID, that kind of set us back. But it's always a pleasure to bring people down, show them our culture here on the Bayou. And the fraternity is one of the best fraternity you could even ask for. Because like I said, when Ida hit, they were the first ones to come down with a team to cook for all the first responders. So this fraternity is a very strong fraternity throughout the United States, and work together to make sure that we take care of our first responders, but also the community that we all work and live in.
Talking to not only the Lafourche Middle School Principal of the Year, but the state Middle School Principal of the Year, Dr. Decina Rodriguez. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
So tell me about how you found out. I know that they were wishing you well, everybody at the school excited and doing those posters and making billboards for you. Tell me about, was it a phone call? Was it an email? Tell me how that went.
Actually, it was a gala that we had at the World War II Museum in New Orleans.
That's right.
So the Louisiana State Department of Education, as well as Dream Teachers, put on this amazing gala for us.
Right.
And there, all the finalists and semifinalists from Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year, New Teacher of the Year, and so on, we were all there, and that's where they made the big announcement to let us know who the winners were.
And so, quite frankly, it's got to be awfully exciting to be amongst all of your colleagues across the state, right? To be able to see that and really kind of to be honored. And then to get both of those things. It's not just in Lafourche, but for the state. So that's got to be awfully exciting for you and for the school.
It really was. That day was just amazing. I'm going to take it with me for a very long time, forever, basically. And when I got to the gala and I was able to see these people now that I knew they were finalists with me, but we didn't necessarily know each other because they're from all over the state.
Right.
So I was able to actually meet them. I knew things about them. I knew they were tremendous leaders, but to be able to finally meet so many of them and talk to them was very, very special for me. And that night, I can't replace. That excitement was just, it was very overwhelming.
Well, what a great venue. And again, there are some other recipients and people that have won awards. I mean, again, just the not knowing. I love that you have a gala, right?
Yeah.
And then you have some of the other people as well on stage.
Right. So those are representatives. The man is from Dream Teachers, and the lady who's with me was actually last year's Louisiana teacher, Louisiana Principal of the Year, excuse me.
Right.
And they presented the award to us, but not knowing was one of the biggest things. That the entire day I was just, I usually keep it together. That the entire day I was just very nervous, and I felt this pressure of, not that anybody put pressure on me, I put pressure on myself. I felt this pressure. And so when it came down to the actual announcement and they said my name, I don't remember getting up.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights.